December 7, 1941. A date forever carved into the memory of humanity. A day after which the world map, world politics, and global power balance would all be forced to reshape themselves. It was early morning at the U.S. Navy base in Hawaii, and like every normal day, sailors were waking up, the ocean was calm, and the sky glowed with a peaceful golden sunrise. No one knew that within minutes, this paradise would turn into the greatest nightmare in American history. On the battleship USS West Virginia, an African-American cook named Doris Miller was performing his usual duties. He served breakfast at sunrise, exchanged light jokes with fellow sailors, and then began collecting laundry, unaware that fate had chosen him for an unimaginable test of courage. Just moments earlier, the ship felt like a floating neighborhood. Men laughing, chatting, preparing for another routine day. But destiny had other plans. Suddenly, a loud, terrifying siren echoed across the entire bay. The type of alarm no sailor ever wants to hear. Doris rushed outside and froze. The peaceful sky had transformed into a battlefield. More than 180 Japanese aircraft were descending from above like metal monsters. Their engines roared like thunder, and the sunlight reflected off their wings like flashes of cold steel. He couldn't blink. In seconds, explosions shook the harbor. Battleships trembled like toys tossed by giants. The smell of burning metal filled the air. Pearl Harbor, the shield of American pride, was under a massive surprise attack. This attack by the Imperial Japanese Navy changed the course of World War II and pushed America into the deadliest conflict ever fought. But the question is, why did Japan dare to challenge a giant like America? Why did a simple cook rise as a national hero? And how did this moment lead the world toward the nuclear era? The story began years earlier. Japan was growing rapidly but lacked a crucial element: natural resources. Oil, iron, rubber, and fuel were all limited, yet Japan wanted to become a dominant empire. To fulfill its ambitions, it began capturing nearby territories. Korea fell under its control, Taiwan was taken, and in 1937, Japan brutally invaded China. For Japan, the Pacific Ocean was not just water, it was a battlefield of opportunity. Japan's next targets were the Philippines, Malaysia, and Indonesia, lands rich in resources. But America, Britain, and the Netherlands controlled these regions. Japan's expansion collided directly with American interests. Meanwhile, Europe was burning in World War II. Germany and Italy stood with Japan, while Britain fought desperately for survival. America wanted peace, still healing from the scars of World War I. But Japan's hunger for power grew more aggressive. When Japan refused to stop its war in China, the U.S. took a drastic step. It cut Japan's oil supply in July 1941. This was a devastating blow. Without American oil, Japan's military machine would collapse in months. Forced into a corner, Japan now had two choices: retreat and appear weak, or fight for survival. Chose war. To execute its plan, Japan required absolute secrecy. Its war commanders prepared silently, using no radio signals. 6 carriers, hundreds of planes, and dozens of warships crossed the Pacific like ghosts, slipping through waves without leaving a trace. For them, Pearl Harbor wasn't just a target, it was the key to dominating the Pacific. On December 7, 1941, the sky above Hawaii cracked open with destruction. The Americans were completely off guard, ships were docked, guns silent, pilots still asleep. The first wave struck for 45 horrifying minutes. Torpedoes sliced through the water, bombs fell like volcanic fire, and flames climbed the sky. The second wave hit fuel depots, airfields, and remaining ships. In just 2 hours, 20 ships were destroyed, 8 battleships crippled, and over 300 planes reduced to twisted metal. Amid this chaos, the USS West Virginia was struck. Doris Miller watched explosions tear through steel walls. Officers were falling, smoke filled corridors, and water flooded the lower decks. Even though Doris was restricted from combat duties due to racial segregation, he didn't hesitate. He carried injured officers, including the captain, through fire and debris. He risked everything to save men who outranked him simply because it was the right thing to do. Then he saw an unattended anti-aircraft gun. Doris had never been trained on it, yet he stepped forward. In the middle of hell, he grabbed the weapon and fired at incoming Japanese planes. Witnesses later testified that several aircraft dropped from the sky because of him. A cook, a man the Navy allowed only to serve food, had become a warrior. For this unmatched bravery, Doris Miller became the first African American to receive the Navy Cross. His story became a symbol of courage, equality, and the unbreakable human spirit. Pearl Harbor changed everything. The next day, America formally entered World War II. Factories roared to life. Civilians donated metal, women joined factories, and soldiers enlisted by the thousands. America transformed overnight, from a hesitant nation to a determined superpower. 4 months later came the Doolittle Raid, the first American attack on Tokyo. Though the damage was small, the psychological impact was massive. Proved Japan was not untouchable. Over the years, battles like Midway, Guadalcanal, Iwo Jima, and Okinawa slowly crushed Japan's Navy and Air Force. Yet Japan refused to surrender. By 1945, humanity had reached its breaking point. The war had consumed millions of lives, cities were leveled, and suffering had reached unimaginable levels. To end the conflict swiftly, the United States made a decision that would echo for centuries. On August 6, 1945, a B-29 bomber released a nuclear bomb named Little Boy over Hiroshima. A blinding flash lit the sky, followed by a fireball hotter than the sun. The city vanished within seconds. 3 days later, Fat Man exploded over Nagasaki, turning another city into ruins. Around 260,000 lives were lost. With no ability to fight on, Japan surrendered. World War II, the deadliest conflict in human history, finally ended. And it all began on a peaceful morning at Pearl Harbor. A surprise attack meant to weaken America instead awakened a power that reshaped the world. Nations fell, alliances formed, and a new global order emerged. And in the heart of this storm stood a man who entered history not as a soldier, but as a cook, Doris Miller, whose courage proved that true heroes are born from spirit, not rank. So friends, I hope that you got a lot of information from this video. To watch more such interesting videos, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Also, click on the bell icon which is present next to the subscription button, so that you can get the notification of all the new videos of this channel. Like and share the video. Take good care of yourself. Goodbye.